Given the amount of time you're going to be spending in workbooks, it becomes very important to be able to be very quick about jumping and finding things and locating and jumping between cells, locating data that you need to. So I want to talk about that right now. Let's take a look at two things. We'll talk about this names text box over here, but first let's start with finding. Let's say I wanted to find something. I can go hit the Find drop down. I can select Find. You'll notice Control F is a shortcut for that. And we're going to look for what was typed there. We're going to look for dinner. And quite simply, it does a text match and finds what I was looking for. Now, let me point out to you, under Options, you have the ability to search the entire workbook. So if I had multiple worksheets in here, it would look for occurrences of dinner across all those worksheets. Or if I only wanted to look in the current one, I could change this to sheet, and it would only look at sheet. Now, I will warn you, if you change it to sheet, it's going to maintain that. So the next search that you perform will also be looking within the sheet. So this has happened to me before. I'll be searching for something. I'll change it to sheet. I'll locate what I want within that sheet because I knew it was there. And then I come back and I search for something again that I know exists, and I can't find it. And I can't find it because I forgot to set this thing back to workbook, and it was only looking in the sheet. So in addition to that, you actually have the ability to search for more than just text. I can search for formats. Let's say with this spreadsheet, I've highlighted a cell I wanted somebody else to take a look at. I can't remember where it is. I could use the format option here to search for a particular format in the highlighted cell. So you can see search is very powerful and a quick way of getting to things. I'll also point out to you there is the option for go to. I happen to use this one a lot, but I actually use the shortcut, which is Control G. So let's go ahead. I'll type Control G. I'll type in a cell number, A5, and boom, I'm at A5. Very quick and easy way to jump between cells. Similar to using GoTo, actually you can use the names box. Now the names box has two purposes. First, it allows you to select or jump to cells or select ranges, but it also allows you to define and create named ranges or cells. Let's take a look at that. So you can see A5 here showing me which cell I'm on. If I wanted to go to G2, it can jump me there. So that's another quick way of jumping to a cell. I can select ranges of cells. I can specify I want I11 through I15, and it will select that range of cells. Notice I used a colon to specify my range. I specify the first cell, which was I11, and I put a colon, and then I put the end cell, I15, and it selects that. Now, let's go ahead and say that I'm working with this miles data here. I'm selecting it with my mouse. And if I were to type in a name that doesn't exist, such as miles, I've now named that range miles. So that if I'm somewhere else, I'll go ahead and select a different cell. And now if I type miles in, it'll select the range that I defined as miles. Where this becomes useful is if you have a huge spreadsheet and you've got different pieces of data all over the place and you can't remember where things are. You remember what they were called or what the data is about, but you don't remember the exact cell. It becomes very useful to be able to use words to actually name your areas. I'll show you another use. Let's say we want to modify this total here. We know it's a sum of all the miles, right? Let's go ahead and redo it in a simpler fashion. We'll go equals sum, and we'll specify miles as our range. Now it summed up the miles for that row without me having to specify the range, drag, select, and such. So it's a very powerful feature. Now let's say we're working in a huge spreadsheet and we've defined all sorts of names and we started to run into situations where we want to name multiple things the same. And so that causes us to need to maybe rename some of our names or change them or maybe even delete old and outdated ones. If I go to the Formulas ribbon and select Name Manager, I can see all the various names that have been defined within this worksheet or workbook, and I can either delete them, I can edit them, I can change them, update them, and just get a general idea of where they are and what they are. So you can see there's lots of tools for navigating around worksheets, selecting cells, selecting ranges, naming them, and conveniently accessing them through the use of the names text box in the home, well, actually it's not in the home ribbon, here it is, the names box and using ranges. So lots of power there, with that said, why don't you go ahead and explore some of that now?